It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we begin a Wednesday. Gary, how are you?
Well, I'm just happy because I think now the whole Caitlin Clark drama might move to the back seat as that new sports issue came out. Joey Chestnut banned from the hot dog eating contest because he is endorsing vegan hot dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you do that? You should have known better. There's rules, man. You got to have lots of body parts in those hot dogs. You can't do that with plants.
Well, I guess the question is Caitlin Clark the best woman basketball player in the world, or is Joey Chestnut the best hot dog eater on the planet? That's what we need to know. We need to figure this out.
I think it's very clear. Joey Chestnut is a wimp. It's all about Caitlin these days. Bye, Joey. Vegan hot dogs. Are you kidding me? Get out of here. Get out! Get out!
My other favorite story, we can't forget, don't worry, we're going to get to all the non-important stuff.
Yeah.
Just
guilty. Okay, fine. I'll tell you everything he's guilty of. I have a list. It's a long one and growing by the day.
But Rachel Maddow is now worried that Trump will send her to a camp. And all I know, you know what I thought when that came to my mind? I could just imagine Bill Murray doing some prank in meatballs to her. I swear. That's what I thought.
We didn't even talk about this in the pre-show meeting.
No, we didn't.
The first time I saw that, I thought of meatballs. That's why I was laughing. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. She's going to send you to a camp.
Bill Murray attempts to set up Rachel Maddow with spaz. Boy, that was politically incorrect, wasn't it? That was.
Yeah. Seriously, do they even listen to what they're saying as they're saying it? I would be so embarrassed if I said that. It's going to send me to a camp. What's wrong with you? Seriously, what is wrong with you? This is we're so far beyond Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know. That looks like a common cold compared to what these people have. What is wrong with you? He's going to put me in jail. He's going to take me away. He's going to disappear me.
He's going to disappear me.
Yeah, one of them said that. He's going to disappear me. Right. And they'll find you crying on your couch in the fetal position days after the election, like Hillary Clinton.
God, it was a day of just bizarre things happening. And just for a moment, forget about you can't forget about it because Hunter Biden found guilty. But the fact on the same day that he's found guilty in gun charges, there's his father screaming about gun control.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
You
cannot make this up.
I saw it because they were streaming it live, and I saw it, or they were posting videos right after it happened. I'm not sure if what I was watching was live. I can't remember, but it was right after it happened, and the protesters there and everything else, and I'm thinking to myself, who is in charge of his schedule? Seriously. I mean, how do you not look at the schedule and go, conflict? We got a conflict. Well, maybe we do this on a different day.
I was thinking, is the Just Say No speech right after he speaks about gun control?
Right, exactly.
It's just like, you can't make this up. And then he went on a roll Let me play this audio. He went on a roll here and we'll just tell you what's a lie in it, which you may hear lies a lot during this minute audio cut.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Here we go.
Are so damn important. We need you. We need you to overcome the unrelenting opposition of the gun lobby, gun manufacturers, so many politicians when they oppose common sense gun legislation. I used to be when I was no longer the vice president, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania.
That's a lie.
Lie.
Lie. Let's continue.
Before that, I taught a constitutional law class, and so I taught the Second Amendment.
That's a lie. Lie number 2. Here we go.
There's never been a time that says you can own anything you want. Never. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War.
Yes, you could. You could own a cannon.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Actually could.
By the way, he's repeated that numerous times.
Right.
That's wrong. Let's continue.
No, I'm serious. Think about it. How many times have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty. Quash it, though. Give me a break.
He couldn't even finish the statement.
Finish the sentence,
couldn't finish the sentence, which was the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots. He completely screwed that one up, and then we continue here.
No, I mean it, seriously. And by the way, if they want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need.
So he threw the F-15 threat against Americans again.
Right. Yeah.
He's
you can't win against us. Yeah. Way to go. You just, for all of us who believe strongly in the Second Amendment rights and practice our Second Amendment rights, you just solidified as to why. Thank you.
Well, I have something, as the media was trying to yesterday. Well, this proves that the Department of Justice is not weaponized. Mm-hmm. Are you insane?
Yeah.
This case is the perfect example of the Department of Justice being weaponized, being caught, and then having to backtrack and actually prosecute somebody for gun crimes. Hey, I've got an idea for all you gun control people. Prosecute the first time somebody who uses or purchases a gun illegally.
Right. They had to, my gosh, I haven't seen anything walk back like this legally. I don't know of a case like this that would be tied to a political family, that would be tied to a presidential family, that they had to walk back. Everybody forgets that, though. Bubble of today. They just absolutely forget it. And it's funny because that's the thing I was talking about. Is like, does anybody remember? I'm thinking as it came down, it's like because some of the liberal media were also trying to blend it in all in one, like they were trying to soften this thing that they don't know what to do with on Trump. The whole can we call him a convicted felon thing. And one analyst saying, and I think it was at CBS, it may have been CNN, I was watching so many, but he said, well, this entire political season has been more about the courtroom than it's been about and blah, blah, and they're just trying to blend it all in together. Sorry, dude. You don't get away with that.
Well, no, but this is where they're wrong. Whoever said that's dead wrong because the reason Trump is leading is the issues.
Yes.
The issues and the weaponization of government.
Yeah.
But the issues also because on inflation on the border. And then there's a crazy day. You had those 8 suspected ISIS terrorists that are caught, and they came through illegally.
Right.
And they were vetted and sent into the country. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just, you just sit there and yesterday was one of those days I just shook my head. But Biden, if I first saw Biden's canceling the gun control speech, and it's like, no, he's just really late for the gun control speech.
Yeah.
He didn't take any questions, duh. But think about this, because the Hunter thing, look, Hunter is not a politician. Now, he's related when it comes to the influence peddling of the entire family, as we know.
Right.
But think about this. There's no weaponization of the Department of Justice. Think about how they let the statute of limitations lapse on many of the tax issues out there.
Right. Yeah.
So think about it. It's the Democrats who scream that the rich need to pay their fair share.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They need to pay their fair share, and we need to have gun control because people are out of control with their guns.
Yeah.
And so you got Hunter Biden with gun crimes and tax crimes, and the Democrats don't give a damn at all about it.
Well, they let it lapse on the tax crimes, But they had to go back and rebuild the statute of limitations in a roundabout way in New York. That's what Bragg did. Well, he didn't, leave the state, and he left the state here. And sorry, you've got something that's expired over here, and you're trying to say it's not expired by building some weird toothpick bridge.
Yeah, I think they didn't use that. They used the fact that since they tied it to another federal crime,
right,
that it extended it out. Initially, it was because of COVID.
Yeah, and
they gave the COVID excuse,
right,
but they seem to have dropped that.
But
one was dropped.
Right, but he was trying to build a statute of limitations where they just let it expire with Hunter Biden.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And this is something that is very clear to all of us who are paying attention. All of us who are paying attention see it. The media just lives in the bubble. The media wants you to live in the bubble of today. Either they're living there too, or they think you're stupid and you don't know or you forgot.
Well, what I liked was I wish I had the headline here, but Chuck Todd saying, "See, this is really going to damage Trump because it shows there is no weaponization of the DOJ." And I'm like, "You're delusional." And all I could think of, remember when he would be on the Sunday morning show, Meet the Press, and he'd be on there, but he was so excited to get something out.
Yeah,
that was a poor point.
Yeah,
and I could see him go, wait, hold on. This shows there was no weaponization. This is terribly damaging to Trump. This isn't going to make one hell of a beans of difference for Trump whatsoever.
No, it's not.
Or this campaign, not at all.
No.
And it's just like they're just grasping at straws, and actually was quite humorous yesterday watching it all.
It really was, and again, it goes back to they're still struggling on whether or not to call him Trump a convicted felon.
Yeah,
and that tells you everything. They're one political pawn they thought they were going to be able to use, and they can't use it. And it's and then the video of Nancy Pelosi on the January 6th thing.
You and I were walking out yesterday, and I don't know why we didn't say it on the air the same way, but we were walking out. I'm like, we should have said that on the air that way, but because we had played the audio of her, and it's revisionist history. They're throwing out revisionist history. Who? Nobody said anything. They just played your tape.
This is you talking.
Yeah, this is you talking. It wasn't an allegation of someone claiming something else. That was you talking.
That was you.
I mean,
you have a problem with what you said.
Yeah.
And you meant it in that moment. You could hear it in her voice.
Oh, yeah.
There was no doubt about that. And I didn't see anywhere where anyone was trying to defend her and say it was, again, we were waiting for them to say, well, it was edited, it was AI. No, because they likely already knew it was an authentic tape or recording. So that's already done. That thing is already banked. They've got nothing. Yeah, they've really got nothing.
The only one involved in revisionist history was Nancy Pelosi.
Exactly.
Saying this is revisionist history.
Right.
How?
Right.
You said it.
Right.
Nobody made any accusation that you didn't make.
Right.
You made the accusation.
This is all about you.
Right. I know. And she was you could tell she was so hyper.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's how you can tell in the video. That's how you can tell she meant it.
Yeah, just amazing.
And it's again, another one of those days where liberals are just eating it. Man, I don't know what I don't get the whole lack of self-awareness. I really don't. I don't know how you just don't go, well, okay, I guess it's going to go down this way, and Trump will be in for 4 years, and then we'll see what happens in 28. And just walk away from this fire because they keep wanting to jump back into the fire. And I don't get that.
And then all the Democrats are going to be at camp around the nice campfire.
Campfire. It's roasting marshmallows, singing songs.
Singing Kumbaya.
Yes. It's going to be fun. Maybe a little fishing, canoeing. It's fun.
Is that going to be the new virtue signaling? Trump's going to send me to camp.
Oh, no.
By the way, Rachel Maddow, a little bit of narcissism there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. She's going to be the martyr.
I'm so important that Trump is going to send me to a camp if he is elected.
Yeah.
Because I'm Rachel Maddow, and I am the threat.
Right. exactly.
What did I say the other day? That if the Democrats continue their effort to save democracy, democracy is going to end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's but that's I do. I think that's, the new game is to go just full on extreme, and let your radical Jew hating protesters go out there and do some lifting for you as well. The anti-Semitism, man, the left owns it. Sorry, it's over. There's no other way to look at it. The Democratic Party owns that, full stop. You add that to everything else that's going on that's working against them, it's not going to be a good summer.
866-90-RED-EYE.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Every driver knows the cost of replacing tires is a major expense. What if you could save on tire costs without sacrificing performance or safety? Consider retreads, a sustainable, cost-effective way to rack up your miles. You may already know that retread tires offer a cost savings, but what else do you know about them? You may be surprised to learn that more than 80% of all aircraft tires in the U.S. today are retreads. From fighter jets to school buses, retreads move some of the most important cargo across many industries. They can also help you move your load, too.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. You ready for this? This is, Karine Jean-Pierre was going to have a press briefing and canceled it after the Hunter Biden conviction.
Mm.
And what's interesting is she has not had a press briefing in 2 weeks now.
Mm.
Yeah. But here's CNN when it happens, okay? Ready? Here we go.
Guys.
Kayla Tausche live for us at the White House. Kayla, we'll let you get to that press briefing that was obviously delayed by the president's remarks. It actually just got canceled.
Yeah, we just learned that.
Whoops.
Briefing canceled after the president's son was convicted.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, I think.
We'll discuss also.
Let's keep going with the panel.
All right, Kate, former White House Communications Director, Kate Bedingfield. That's kind of interesting. Briefing
Did they
canceled.
cancel the briefing? Well, it's not uncommon to cancel the briefing after the president gives a significant set of remarks. I mean, your aim during the day is to try to get the press to cover the things you want them to cover. So when the president goes out, gives a speech like that on an issue where, that is meaningful to him, where he's got a lot to talk about, where he's laid out, the accomplishments of his administration, by the way, a bipartisan success he's had in his administration, you want the focus to be there. So sometimes
They've known all along he's making this speech.
Sometimes you pull down, but they also didn't know you guys were going to cover it in full, for example.
Take it away. Because we anticipated he might talk about the huge news.
I love my dear friend Kate here, but we know why it was canceled, because they don't want to deal with questions about the verdict. I understand that. And
I'm sorry, that's our audio cut of the day right there.
Oh, easy. And I could actually hear the flames in the background. The set was going up in flames by that point. Guys, they don't want to answer questions about the verdict.
Think about that. Wouldn't you be ashamed? I'd be shameful as somebody who gives my opinion every day to actually on national media, which we're a part of, actually make that statement that everybody knows is complete horse blank.
Exactly.
Everyone knows it.
Right.
This shows you they don't care. Why? Because they're political activists.
Exactly.
They don't care.
Exactly.
There is no shame.
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You said a long time ago, Eric, you said if the premise is wrong, everything afterwards may seem right, but it's actually wrong because the premise is wrong. I'm reading from Chris Cillizza here, as we all know, from the wonderful liberal, whatever he is out there, pundit. I've got 5 takeaways from the Hunter Biden verdict. Let's go through them.
All right.
As a dad, this is hurtful, worrisome, and a massive distraction for the president, and will likely continue to be.
All right.
Number 2, the polling that's been done, all before the verdict, suggests 70% of voters don't factor Hunter Biden's trial into their decision-making on his dad. 3, the whole legal system is rigged. Arguments Republicans make just took a big blow. 4, Hunter Biden equal Donald Trump. Only one convicted felon is on the ballot this fall, and it's not Hunter Biden. And number 5, if you thought the campaign was nasty to date, you ain't seen nothing yet. Where do we even start here?
Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
Number 1, the entire thing, this is a loving father.
Yeah.
This is a loving father whose son is out of control. This is a loving father who, remember the fallback position on the influence peddling.
Right.
This is a loving father because this was in the influence peddling with Ukraine and China and everything else. This was all Hunter and Jim.
Yeah.
Joe knew nothing about it.
The illusion of influence.
Right. So as we know now, this is a continuing the extrapolation of that narrative that Joe is completely clueless.
Yeah.
And Hunter and Jim and all the business associates that they shared now.
Yeah.
That story coming out yesterday that we did on the show that, wow, so Politico had it, all the intermingling of the people that work for Joe work for Hunter.
Right.
So that means all of them knew what Hunter and Jim were doing.
Right.
And as we know, they were getting money. This is the fallback position now from the mainstream media on the Bidens, that the entire Biden family is corrupt.
Yeah.
That Hunter is corrupt, Jim is corrupt, the entire family that received money through bank accounts and LLCs, companies that were set up not to be a company, but to funnel money through to different family members, that all the family, probably 9, 10, 11 of the family members were all involved in destroying Joe's legacy. And this started way, way back. Remember, he was vice president, this was going on. But their only goal was to destroy Joe.
Yeah.
And now, with the political story, all his lawyers, his business associates, all of them, they shared them. So everybody knew, everybody was in to get Joe, and Joe was just a loving father. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Gary, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that anywhere. Well, no, all you have to do is take the narrative the mainstream media now believes, and that is it was an illusion of influence. There was no influence peddling. It was illusion of influence. It was all bad Hunter. Well, you have to extrapolate that out then.
Right.
It was Hunter and it was Jim. And so what they were promising foreign adversaries, this is their fallback position. I don't buy it,
right,
but this is their fallback position.
Right.
And it's important to repeat this over and over and over again because this is their defense. This is like, Nancy Pelosi saying, well, that's revisionist history. How can it be? You said it.
You were the one talking.
Right. And so this is the mainstream media. When they say it was illusion of influence, you have to ask yourself, what does that actually mean? Okay, it sounds, well, there's nothing there. It's an illusion of influence. Okay, there's nothing there. So what does that mean? Oh, then they were promising all these foreign governments that Joe would do stuff for them. And they screwed all these foreign governments because Joe never did anything.
Right.
But the money that they took, everybody in the Biden family knew about it except Joe.
Right.
And the money was distributed to everybody in the family, business associates, the political article, the back and forth. They actually had the flow chart of all the different business partners that Joe and Jim and Hunter shared and everything else. So everybody was in this conspiracy to destroy the legacy of Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is still clueless to this day that happened. And think about this. Nobody has asked Joe, what do you think about your entire family trying to screw you over?
Right.
That question's never been asked. That's their fallback position. Does anybody buy that? Understand that's what the media and the media and probably the Bidens are trying to sell you.
And if anyone from Letitia James's office is listening, selling the illusion of influence when you know there's not really any influence or access to him is fraud.
It's fraud. And then so that's number 2 from Chris Eliza. The polling that's been done all before the verdict suggests 70% of voters don't factor Hunter Biden's trial into their decision making on his dad. I'm not really sure what that means. We have said it's not going to make any difference. His conviction won't make any difference in how people view Trump or especially Trump. It's not going to make any difference for any Trump supporters. And that's, for example, what they're trying to say is this is a big blow to Trump because it shows there is no weaponization of the DOJ. That's a load of horse manure.
And let's say this poll that he's citing here, Chris Eliza is citing here, is accurate. 30% is not nothing. So if it influences 30% of the voting base, depending on where they are.
Yeah, that changes an election.
If they're on the right, they weren't going to be influenced by this one way or the other.
Right.
If they're in the middle, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
That was probably the wrong poll to bring up.
And what he's forgetting, though, is the big news that came out of this trial was the laptop is legit. So everything that's contained in that laptop, including all the emails back and forth that bring Joe Biden in to the influence peddling, is all legit by the Department of Justice.
Right.
You can't, and that's no small thing as to what the future may bring, and Republicans would be smart to keep pounding that over and over and over and over again, especially on social media, because as we found out, as you know now, we don't get the calls anymore. We got the calls a few years ago. The media controls the complete narrative, and you can't fight it. We all know that's false now.
Yeah, it's
the
garbage.
public knows what's going on. The whole legal system is rigged. Arguments Republicans make just took a big blow. Well, we're not saying that the whole legal system is rigged. We're saying that the Department of Justice is tainted under Merrick Garland.
Yeah.
We're saying that, for example, the FBI under James Comey was compromised, and there was a deep stink rot in there not wanting to follow the law. We also know that the whole legal system is rigged. Oh, so you're conveniently forgetting about the whistleblowers that came forward here? Chris, the whole legal system is rigged, doesn't apply here. The only reason that he got convicted yesterday was because of the outrage, the absolute outrage that the Department of Justice let expire the tax allegations that would happen to no one else.
Right.
No one else would get that. We all know that. And everything that they tried to do to make a sweetheart deal that blew up in their face. This only happened because of the outrage that they got caught trying to protect the Biden family.
Yep.
So that goes apart. Hunter Biden equal Donald Trump. Nobody's ever, I don't know anybody making that. That's a straw man argument. Nobody's making that argument.
Right.
The argument they're making, and I would make, is a laptop leads to Joe Biden, and that was found to be legit. And we all know now that everybody lied. The 51, did you see Brennan and Clapper both, the article out there? None of the 51 will sit there and apologize for what they did or say they're wrong. Well, of course they're not.
No.
They accomplished what they believe their goal was. Of course they're not going to jail, so they're not going to admit anything.
No, they're not going to, there's, as you suggested and others have suggested, they should lose their clearance.
Yeah.
But they know they're not going to, and they know they're not going to be negatively affected. They still have their jobs over at CNN or MSNBC or wherever they want to sit on a panel and get paid to do it. And they can be wrong as long as it works for them in the moment. That is the entire play. We talked about it yesterday. That's the entire play by the left. The left is all about, if it works for us now, we don't care if we're found out. We don't care. Because if we don't, and you have to step back and see the entire picture. They don't care about the truth to begin with. Anyone who does that does not make up such an entire series of lies to get their agenda done. So when the truth comes out, they don't care. They're fine with it. We put them in our mindset when the truth comes out, quite often saying, oh my gosh, don't you want to apologize? Don't you want to? Well, people might feel, some people, good people, might feel remorseful for doing something wrong after they get caught. Well, the left, politically, there's no remorse here.
Well, Chris, that was an extremely weak take, because what comes out of this, and that's why even Biden speaking. Yet, look, that's why when we had played that CNN cut where the Biden hacks out there. Well, they canceled Karine Jean-Pierre's daily briefing because Biden was speaking, and they wanted the focus on Biden speaking. He goes,
What?
Yeah, but they knew this was going to happen a week ago. Why did she cancel now?
Right.
And they all just mocked her. We'll play that again because we got to play that a few times.
Oh,
because
we have to.
It shows you how weak it is.
It's so weak.
She canceled it because everybody could see the hypocrisy of Biden talking about gun control when he has consistently said his son did no wrong. Remember, on this, he said his son did no wrong,
right?
And it was obvious that he did. And people may say, well, yeah, but he's protecting his son. Well, fine, you can do that, but you're president of the United States promoting one thing, and you're saying that your son isn't guilty of anything when obviously you're out there preaching gun control and your son illegally got a gun.
Yep. By the way,
that's why they canceled.
By the way, I want to thank the White House for listening. It was about 2 weeks ago when I said on the air, you guys just need to take the summer off. Quit having the pressers. Quit talking. Just go on a summer-long vacation. Do something. Don't talk to the media. That was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's 2 weeks. 2 weeks I read that she hasn't given a press briefing.
Yeah. And
she had her speech, though, remember, the other day to FEMA.
Yeah, of course.
Where she talked about in crisis management that she understands that when she talks to the press that she has to be credible and people have to know that she's truthful in order for her to get her message across, and that's very important in crisis management.
Right, yes, very important.
There's no self-awareness.
There
was. That's why they canceled it yesterday. They canceled the press briefing because there was some self-awareness. You cannot have her out there going, and the president talked about gun control today. Yeah, the president talked about gun control. He said his son did nothing wrong. Does the White House still stand by that?
Right. Well, you know what happened. The verdict came down, and she's looking at her book going, it doesn't have those pages. There's not a page for that. Where's that page? And they lost it. I mean, it's again.
All we had was a jury nullification section. We didn't know they were going to find him guilty. We thought the jury was going to nullify
that
it.
CNN clip. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear it again. Yeah. It's like that SNL bit when the prompter goes down and they don't know what to do. What happened? What happened? They just start throwing out random excuses. Oh my gosh, It's so beautiful.
What a zoo!
I love this job.
Is everybody out there jealous that we get to do this every day? Is there like a lot of envy and jealousy out there going, God, these guys are having such a great time?
For once, I'll say it. You should be jealous.
Yeah.
It may be the only time you hear that from me.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up, Jon Stewart on Pride Month. Ooh.
Okay.
We now have rappers coming out and saying some interesting things. You saw that Jay-Z is all for school vouchers now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kendrick Lamar told Compton College graduates, lean on God. There's nothing more valuable than being independent thinkers.
There you have it.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Plus, we do have to get to the specifics of Rachel Maddow saying that Trump, if elected, will ship her to a camp.
Seriously. I mean, seriously. There's just no self-awareness at all. And they keep repeating these things. She's not the only one talking like this.
No, they all are. It's not having any effect at all.
No, it isn't.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Rachel Maddow, Monday. I'm worried about the country broadly if we put someone in power who is openly avowing that he plans to build camps to hold millions of people and to root out what he described as subhuman terms as his enemy from within. Again, history is helpful there. He's not joking when he says his stuff. And we've seen what happens when people take power proclaiming that kind of agenda. For that matter, what convinces you that these massive camps he's planning are only for migrants? So, yes, I'm worried about me, but only as much as I worry about all of us. Is that the new virtue signaling?
Yeah.
Trump's going to put me in a camp.
That she alone is more of a threat, or just as much of a threat, as the entire collective issue of the southern border. Wow. I didn't know she was that important.
Well, the extrapolation is if you have detention camps for migrants, then she's going. That's not a leap, is it?
No,
you have you have detention camps for illegal immigrants that exist already.
Yeah,
that aren't full,
right?
But exist already, but aren't being used by taxpayer dollars.
Right.
She is jumping from that to they're going to put me in a camp.
Yeah. They're going to put all of us away.
It just shows you that they have nothing. They know they can't win on the issues. And so you and I have stated this over and over again, and maybe a little bit of advice to the left. You've cried wolf too many times.
Well, that's the thing. They keep repeating this nonsense. Is it that no one really is their audience just shaking their head going, oh, yeah, no, I believe her. That's exactly what's going to happen. Or is it that they don't care what the audience thinks? They don't care what anybody else thinks. I mean, that's embarrassing. It really is. You're going out of your way to make yourself the most, the biggest threat.
Yeah.
And it's above all else. Yeah. The world is out to get Rachel Maddow. Uh-huh. Right. Right.
That's who they're going to get.
Yes.
It's just.
But they keep talking this way. They keep saying that if he's elected, you saw Robert De Niro. He'll never leave. What does that actually mean? What does that mean? It's a weird script that they go by. It's a weird way of thinking. And I don't know if they're misfiring, if their brain is misfiring because it's falling apart and it's not working for them. Or it's, it's just, I don't know. But it seems like every day it's something else that is a little more desperate. It's a little more of a reach. And I guess that's what you do when you can't sit and talk about the issues. Rachel Maddow could easily, she's probably done it. I don't watch her on TV, but I'm sure she's talked about, here's the importance of Biden winning because of the Supreme Court and blah, blah, blah. And there could be, you could talk a number of things legitimate, and they never approach it anymore. They don't. Everything is about me, 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 me. I'm the biggest victim. No, you're not. I am.
Well, the biggest the possible victim now.
Right. Yes.
And it's not, again, that think about this. They've completely lost that we're looking out for the little guy. It's that we're going to be jailed by Trump.
Yeah. Forget the little guy. This is about me.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. It's just, and here's the problem too. Because I don't believe Rachel Maddow is a complete moron.
Really? Okay, continue on. I'm interested in hearing this narrative.
I said complete moron.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She's capable of seeing the numbers going, okay, something is turning, something is changing here. Nothing we've done, nothing we've thrown at him is changing those numbers as of right now. There's got to be something else going on. Or you're just so desperate, you're out of plays, you're thinking your entire time you are counting on Letitia James, Fonnie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Mershon. You were counting on all of them to put him away, lock the door, no visitations, no appearances from jail, 100-year sentence based on nothing. And you were hoping that somebody else would just take him out of your life, and it backfired. It backfired in a huge way, and you don't know what to do about it. And you're just desperate. Look, you and I have been doing this long enough, and long enough together, 19 years next month, to know, and we've seen it when, I don't know how many times we've seen it, the GOP have a huge, wide open door to walk through, and they didn't walk through it, and they've lost elections, and they picked horrible candidates, and we've seen them falter. I never looked at that situation knowing it wasn't going to go well for the GOP. At least by the numbers, it didn't look like it was going to go well. And then just go into this crisis mode in my mind. There's one thing that's going on right now that you can't deny. There is something wrong with the current president. I can't tell you what that is. He does not have the wherewithal. He does not have the physical stamina. He doesn't have the mental stamina to be commander-in-chief. And we all know that. You can see what's going on with Alvin Bragg going after Trump, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis. These are people that ran their campaigns when they were looking to get elected on that promise of going after Trump. You can see those things. They're very, very obvious. We don't have to make things up. If you're looking with honest eyes, you see what's going on. People are struggling. They're underwater. every month they're getting further and further behind. Delinquencies on car loans and credit cards are on the rise. Later today, inflation numbers for May, which mean nothing to the consumer. The consumer's already paid that price. They did it back in May. They know what the inflation was in May. They know where the prices are. And they're getting hit time and time again. I didn't have hardly anything in this cart, well over $100 the other day. And people are having to make choices. There's the real threat of this kind of policy, these policies continuing, because they are choices and we can change them.
Well, and Rachel Maddow can't argue those. She can't argue where the Democrats stand on the issues. But this I find interesting. Does she have this opinion because she realizes how far the weaponization of government has gone to favor the left, and she's afraid that the right could do the same thing that the left has done, including go after Trump, and she understands the danger of what her own party is doing, and she fears that if the opposition party does it, that then they could go after her. Now, it's still, I think the narcissism is huge because she's not in the political arena,
right?
And nobody has yet gone after a journalist like they have Trump when it comes to lawfare.
Right.
But is that what she's thinking? Otherwise, if she's not thinking that, which isn't going to happen because you're not going to find, as we've stated before, you're not going to find judges that are constructionist or originalist in the federal system or even in the local system, most likely that would go to that particular point of doing what Judge Merchan did.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the real problem. The judge couldn't control the courtroom. The judge let the rogue prosecutor go. The judge is crooked.
Yep.
That's why.
Yep.
And we know it because nothing made any type of legal sense at all.
Right.
In fact, still today, can anybody identify the specific crime that Trump is guilty of? You can't, because the jury didn't tell you what it was, and the judge gave them a multiple choice without having any type of unanimous verdict for either one, which is why it's going to get overturned. Let's put it this way. If you want to play this game of comparison, which we don't try to do, but we're only doing it at this point because the other side is doing it, Trump's conviction will be overturned on appeal. Hunter Biden's will not.
No, it will not.
If you want to make that, and that's based on what? That's based on knowing the evidence of both cases. Everyone knows Hunter Biden, it was slam dunk. Everyone knows. Everyone knows that the Department of Justice tried to protect Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. That's why the whistleblowers came forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because they saw the rot inside the Department of Justice. And for whether it's Chuck Todd to say, well, Trump's in trouble now because he can't use weaponization of government, certainly he can, and you can use that case. You can use the Hunter Biden case.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't prosecute until they were forced to and embarrassed by the judge of saying, you're not going to have this, you're not going to be able to do this particular deal. Sorry, this is just ridiculous.
Right.
And that got thrown out so quickly that then they felt, okay, we better get someone, and better to get him on something where he won't do any jail time than lead the path to Joe. That's what I believe is happening in the Department of Justice.
Right. I saw an analyst on ABC News that said he believes there will be jail time. I don't believe there will be. He thinks there will be possibly 6 months to a year. It won't be the maximum. And I don't know why he thinks that. He didn't really explain. They didn't give him time to explain in the audio or in the video that I watched. It was an hour after the verdict came down. I don't expect jail time.
Should some Republicans scream now for that he loses any type of Secret Service protection in jail,
Yeah,
like they did for Trump, and see let's see the reaction to that one.
Right.
Now, I don't know if he gets it if he's in jail being the son.
Yeah, I don't know
the
that. He does.
I don't know what the details is, but
Yeah.
that just came to mind. That one, I don't even know. I forgot who the Democrat was who said we need to take Secret Service protection against Trump.
Yeah.
In jail, and
Right.
the right responded and said, "Well, that shows they want Trump to be killed."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Right.
So, wow, what a zoo!
No, it is. It's chaos, complete chaos every day.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF Fuel Power Max.
Managing time is key. Successful owner-operators know that simply running hard is not enough. If it were that easy, anyone could do the job and expect the profits to roll in. It generally pays to slow down. There is a trade-off in higher costs, not to mention the increased risk for driving fast. If driving slower takes time away from you, you could find some of the ways to get it back. Never take time off during the last 2 weeks of the quarter or the last week of the month, when freight typically is abundant. Sometimes it works to your advantage to look for loads that take you through home rather than to home. The latter can interrupt your revenue stream and require additional time to get back up to full speed again. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Well, as we hear the mainstream media talk about the Hunter Biden guilty verdict, and that proves there's no weaponization of the DOJ, Andrew McCarthy spoke yesterday on Fox News and sort of disagreed with that analysis here. Here we go.
Yeah, well, I think Weiss is a joke. I mean, a lot of history happened here before that plea deal blew up as it deserved to. You know, Weiss had this case, Sandra, from October of 2018. Any other defendant would have been prosecuted by the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. Weiss got the gig as Delaware U.S. attorney during the Trump years because his nomination was green-lighted by the two Biden-allied Delaware senators, and he dutifully did nothing on this case for a couple of years, which is why they kept him when Joe Biden took office, and why it was very convenient for them to be able to wave around that he was a Trump appointee while he continued to sit around as the statute of limitations chewed up his case. They didn't even want to do a sweetheart deal. They tried to get rid of this case with nothing. And it was only because of the whistleblowers who came forward and the attention that brought to this matter that they had to go to court and try at least to get something past a federal judge. But it was so absurd that it crumbled on the basis of just a few basic questions.
Andy,
There you go. So Andrew McCarthy yesterday.
Yeah.
On it, which we said, which is, you know, when, what's his name, Chuck Todd came out. Well, this really hurts Trump because it shows there's no weaponization of the DOJ.
Wrong.
It's like he couldn't wait to go. It's like, wrong. This was the example. The conclusion only came about because of the whistleblowers pointing out the weaponization of the Department of Justice, which means go after one guy and let the other guy and his family and what may touch the president just go free.
Yeah. Right. And again, the bubble of today, when you live in the bubble of today, there's, I guess, no way, to break that. You just refuse to put the entire picture together. Either that or they're just not smart enough to put it together. Do you not remember the entire thing? I mean, if you go about it like they often do, ignore things, don't cover things, important critical parts of a case, like the Hunter Biden case, then maybe you don't know what happened. Maybe you're completely uninformed as to how all this went down. No, this shows exactly what many of us have believed is going on in the Justice Department. And we wouldn't be here, wouldn't have been there yesterday.
If it hadn't been for the whistleblowers.
Exactly. Right. You know,
and then the judge had said, "Well, this is ridiculous."
Remember the day that that Hunter showed up with his creepy-looking lawyer friends at the hearing? You know, and Democrats, well, no, he'll testify. He's willing to testify. And then all of a sudden they had to backtrack on that. Well, we don't know that he's going to be able to testify and blah, 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 blah. And the whistleblower thing changed everything. This is, of course, where it was going to end.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. By the way, just an update here. GOP now has a 3-vote lead in the House after the victory. Michael really won the special election to replace retired Representative Bill Johnson of Ohio. So a little bit of breathing room, a little bit more breathing room than they had before.
Yeah.
The other story that really hit yesterday was the 8, let me get the story here, the 8 different suspected ISIS terrorists that were taken into custody yesterday. And that's mind-boggling. When you hear the fact of, well, they were vetted. And I want to go to Bill Malugin here from Fox News as he talked about the fact that, and the audio isn't the greatest here, but I wanted to play it because we've talked about this, when you talk about people that have been covering the border, he's been doing it for the past couple of years and does a great job. He really does.
Yeah.
And I think he talks about what he sees on the ground and what the law actually is and what the administration is actually doing. And here he was on Fox News yesterday. Here we go.
What scares me the most about my coverage of the border and what I hear the most from my border contacts is that the vetting, as you just mentioned, is wholly inadequate at the border. When you get guys from Iran, from Tajikistan, from Syria, there's no database to match these guys against. What Border Patrol agents tell us is even if they get fingerprints, the only way they know about somebody's criminal history often is if they've committed a crime in the United States. Bashar al-Assad isn't sharing database records with the U.S. on Syrian citizens, right? So what does the U.S. do? We still mass catch and release single adult men from these potentially hostile countries into the United States. Yep, en masse. We see it in San Diego sector. We're the only country on the face of the planet that does this. It's remarkable.
The Republicans need to pound on this. In case you didn't hear the story, 8 Tajikistan nationals with ties to ISIS were busted by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigation Joint Terrorism Task Force in 3 major cities, a federal source confirmed to Fox News. The arrest took place in New York City, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia in recent days. All 8 Tajikistan nationals crossed the U.S. southern border illegally. And according to the federal source familiar with the sting, no derogatory information was initially flagged with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol or with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security during the processing. The suspected terrorists were, ready for this, fully vetted. And as Bill Malugin tells you, it's impossible to do that.
Well, that's every time I saw those words, there is absolutely no way they were fully vetted. And
there's nothing to vet them on.
Right. When you say fully vetted, what does that mean? You asked them a question and they responded?
Yeah. This is the insanity. How can any Democrat, every single Republican should stand up tomorrow and sit there and say, this is what's going on. The focus, There's a lot of focus on different things. Immigration is number one. If you want to know the danger at the southern border, if you want to know why Biden doesn't give a damn about American lives, there's the story right there.
Yep.
Democrats defend it.
We've been talking about it since he's been president.
Yep.
He invited everyone to cross the border. Last Sunday, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas bragging about all the multiple ways to help people get across.
So they were fully vetted, but they weren't because they're in custody now. So they weren't fully vetted.
They weren't vetted. They weren't vetted.
God, I mean, just the BS you got to put up with from this damn administration.
Here's the problem. These are the ones that have been caught. These are the ones that they know about. How many are here now? There's no doubt there are others here.
The Fox News source said the suspected terrorists were released into the United States and derogatory information was flagged with national security concerns, including the individual's ties to ISIS. A sting operation then was reported by the New York Post yesterday according to the report from the New York Post, part of the investigation featured a wiretap which revealed one of the now arrested individuals was talking about bombs. So their goal, the goal was to commit a terrorist act.
Yep.
The source told the New York Post, remember the Boston Marathon bombing? I'm afraid something like that might happen again or worse. Well, what the hell do you expect?
Border's wide open. There's no vetting process. There's no way to vet them.
I mean, just
come on in. We'll catch up with you later.
Terrorists enter over here.
That's right. Now, if you're pro-Hamas, make sure that you stay separate from our pro-Hamas people that are already here.
Right.
We just want to keep those separate. Makes it difficult.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Don't go to any elite college campus.
Right. Or maybe you do. I just don't. I don't know. When I've been saying this for a while, we are at a crossroads. Every election is critical. But we have to end this nonsense. This is insanity, and we have to end all of it. We have to secure the southern border. We have to bring the economy back to make sure that people have their spending power restored the way a nation like ours, and there's no other nation like ours, should have. And we need to make sure we're on top of the enemy, not funding the enemy, while defunding the police. This is stupid, and it needs to end.
Now, the New York Post, this is our editorial, the pre-9/11 warning lights are flashing once again, thanks largely to President Biden's refusal to control the southern border. That's one of the key takeaways from a new foreign affairs essay based on testimony and comments by national security experts. Will America be caught asleep at the switch? One ominous sign. The Post reports exclusively a sting last week nabbed 6 Russian nationals with suspected ISIS ties to Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and New York, at least one of whom had been released by the feds at the southern border with a court date next year. Remember the Boston Marathon bombing, a source told the Post? I'm afraid something like that will happen again or even worse. In the essay, Harvard professor Graham Allison and ex-CIA director Mike Morrell cite FBI Director Chris Wray's increasingly alarming assessments of the nation's threat environment. In December, 2 months after the October 7th massacre in Israel, Wray testified that already heightened terror threat had soared to a whole nother level as thousands crossed the border each day with little or no vetting. By April, his fears grew even more dire after an ISIS-K attack at a Moscow concert hall killed 145 people and wounded hundreds. Outgoing National Counterterrorism Center Director Christine Abizadi also raised alarm, citing the elevated global threat environment. And just last week, Attorney General Merrick Garland backed that view, warning that threats have surged enormously. And we know why. We know why, and it just keeps happening.
Yep.
And Democrats don't give a damn.
No, they don't.
Wow. Despite the threats, the southern border remains virtually defenseless.
No, it's wide open. Mayorkas is telling everyone, in fact, hey, we got multiple ways you can get here.
Yeah, come on in.
Come on in. What are you waiting for? Executive order? No, doors are open. Come on in. Shocked that terrorists were found. We shouldn't be.
I know.
We should be outraged that all of the other terrorists that are here haven't been found. And you're not going to have any kind of, there's not going to be a concerted effort.
And when you think about it, with this all going on, and again, one says 6, the other says 8.
Mm-hmm.
There's differing stories here on it, but we know they're in the country, right. And we know that they're making it. We know the Biden administration is making it easy, and then Biden goes and lies to the American public last week that he is going to start clamping down on the border, and we all know it's a lie. There's been they've been completely quiet since he gave his little speech, and as everyone agrees, this is doing nothing. Right. He continually lies to the American public. Mayorkas lies to the American public. Every single Democrat defends every single Democrat. I don't know one Democrat, maybe Fetterman, but every single other Democrat endorses Mayorkas and voted against his impeachment.
Yeah.
Now, that would be the House, not the Senate.
Right.
But everybody agrees. I'll put it this way, because we don't know about Fetterman. There may be one or two others that are up for election that have to pretend that they are,
strong on the border.
Strong on the border, right?
Yeah.
And so you got 99% of the Democrats that support this open border and support terrorists coming into the United States.
Yep.
Think about that. Democrats support terrorists entering the United States of America.
Yeah.
They endorse it. Otherwise, they would do something, or they would call this administration out on their lies and say this is a security threat.
Right.
Not only are the Democrats pro-terrorists, they're pro-terrorists coming into the United States.
Yeah. They're okay with it.
Right. And the same Democrats are saying, this is horrible what's going on at the border. We got to stop it. Terrorists are coming in. It's a high alert. All the Democrat administration, the FBI is saying this is, and Biden just continues and Mayorkas continues. The border is secure. In fact, we've got more ways for you to come in unvetted.
And after October 7th, it's not what it should be is, oh my gosh, not only do we have to help Israel defend themselves and support them in that effort, we have to defend our own country. And it's quite the opposite. Telling Israel to stand down and widening the border by sending out Mayorkas on the Sunday morning news shows. Let me give you a list of all the ways you can get in.
I know. It's just absolutely, it's insane.
They're treating it like some weird amusement park. Come on in.
866-98-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We don't live in the bubble of today, so we remember the 9/11 Commission and what they came out with, and what the media focused on and what we focused on. When the 9/11 Commission came out, they said, here's the problem. They're at war with us. We're not at war with them.
Right.
And they said, not only do we need better intelligence, but we need to act on that intelligence. We actually had the intelligence we needed.
Yeah.
Now, they talked about the fact that, well, the intelligence that this strike was going to happen, some people thought it was going to happen. Others did not. And that intelligence did not rise to the forefront. But they said, even if you had the intelligence, because that's what the Democrats focused on, we need better intelligence, better intelligence. But the 9/11 Commission said, if you're not going to act on that intelligence, if you get better intelligence, it doesn't matter. You have to have preemptive strikes.
Right.
You have to preemptively do it. That's what we should have done. And we said, well, then 9/11 could not have been prevented because no way was it going to happen during the Clinton administration.
Right.
Early on, and probably wouldn't have happened during the Bush administration.
Not in that short period.
Right. And so you look at it, but now we're just saying, open the border to allow the terrorists in. Because with the 9/11, we talked about overstaying a visa. Now we're just letting we're letting terrorists cross the border.
Yep.
We don't care.
Right. Right.
And it's amazing after what we went through with 9/11 and the harm that caused the United States, both the deaths of thousands of Americans, everything that we go through now, security and everything else. And America has just said, what the hell? We're going to vote for somebody who would just have open borders and let the terrorists walk in.
Right.
And the Democratic Party fully supports it. 99% of Democrats, maybe not the voters, but 99% of those in Congress support it.
Right.
Support terrorists entering the United States.
Yep.
Please tell us where we're wrong. If you're a Democrat, you can't.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hi. Welcome to a Wednesday. I wasn't sure what day it was for a moment there.
It is Wednesday.
So there it is, the headline. Joey Chestnut breaks silence after learning he cannot compete in the 2024 hot dog eating contest. He has been banned. Why has he been banned? Apparently, he is endorsing a vegan wiener.
No.
Yes.
You can't do that. There's no such thing.
I have to read the story because I didn't know that they basically had a name for, I guess, the League of Hot Dog Eaters.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Major League Eating.
Oh, the MLE. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Major League Eating announced on Tuesday that Joey Chestnut is unable to participate in the 2024 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest after he partnered with a rival brand. Chestnut recently signed a deal with Impossible Foods, a rival of Nathan's, that has launched a vegan wiener. Thus, Major League Eating.
Okay.
Who was the Major League Eating commissioner?
I was going to say, who's that commissioner?
Who was the commissioner? It's like
Kevin James? I don't know. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is.
Miss Alabama. Let me see now. Ruled that the longtime Major League Eating ruled that as long as the 16-time winner of the contest has a deal with Impossible Foods, he will not be allowed to compete at the July 4th spectacle. He said, I was gutted. Sorry, I found that funny.
I was gutted.
I was gutted to learn from the media that after 19 years, I am banned from the Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest. I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country on the 4th, and I have been training to defend my title to set the record straight.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have a contract with Major League Eating or Nathan's, and they are looking to change the rules from past years as it relates to other partners I can work with. This is apparently the basis of which I'm being banned, and it doesn't impact the July 4th event.
Uh-huh.
Sadly, this is a decision Nathan's and Major League Eating have made.
Sadly.
Now, on that same day, the report came in. Here it is, New York Post.
Mm-hmm.
Vegan fake meats linked to heart disease and early death.
Oh, darn. Not to mention lack of taste.
While experts extol the health and environmental benefits of a diet free of animal products, new research suggests that consuming ultra-processed vegan food can increase the risk of heart death.
Well, I mean, if you're going to go vegan, you just eat, the other stuff. You eat the high-processed stuff. This is the thing that with too many vegans, they're looking to replace meat instead of just eliminating meat from their diet and dairy and eggs and all other good things.
I just thought, while experts extol the health, environmental benefits of a diet free of animal products, well, they make it sound like it's science that there's a consensus in science that you should have a diet free of meat.
Right.
That's not the case.
Well, you're going to have a problem when it comes to protein, getting enough of it, having enough energy to do things like stand up or sit down or blink.
They found that a plant-based eating plan promotes overall health heart, but only if that diet features fresh plant-based foods,
right,
such as fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and more.
Yeah, right.
The researchers found that for every 10% increase in plant-based foods, the risk of death from heart disease, fell by 20%. That was if it was 10%, not when the increase in plant-based foods came from the processed foods, it was linked to a 12% rise in health disease-related deaths. By the way, I just wouldn't eat meat overall.
That's my whole point. Just avoid the garbage that looks like meat. Hey, look, we've got something that. Well, then what you actually want is meat.
Yeah.
If you're going out of your way to eat ultra-processed stuff to avoid meat, the meat's going to be healthier for you.
Mm-hmm. So Joey's out. So have we moved on then from the Caitlin Clark controversy now to Joey Chestnut?
I don't think so. I think I think he deserves to be out. We can go back to Caitlin, but the whole idea though also of he didn't have a contract with the MLE. Hey, get Chestnut's agent on the phone, would you? It's the Nathan's part of it. They're the big sponsor.
Yeah.
It's, they're the ones that put it on. And then you come out with, and that's where you've essentially become famous. And you go and endorse their competitor. Well, of course you're going to be.
Well, I haven't studied this. Is Major League Eating separate from the Nathan's part of it? Is there actually like a league?
Apparently. I think there's a league, and the event itself is, again, sponsored by Nathan's. I don't know if they bought the stadium. Is there a stadium? Where do they hold this thing? Where is it? Is it in the cafeteria somewhere? And we're here at Luby's. I don't know where they hold it. Wherever they hold it.
By the way, I was going in my town. We used to have a baseball stadium in my city for minor league, and they got rid of it, and now it's cricket. And I was going down by our park, and they have this sign talking about what's going on. The Cricket World Cup. I'm like, well, that's the first I've heard of it, and I live about, 6 miles from the stadium. I had no idea. It was like the Cricket World Cup. Like,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
I don't care.
I got nothing.
It's like, exactly.
So all the cricket teams from the entire world will be here? Okay. That's fine.
It was funny yesterday. I don't know if, you probably didn't see it. It was on Facebook, and our great friend of the show, old friend, retired last year from Dallas radio, Dave Williams.
Yeah.
He got involved in the Caitlin Clark thing, and it was just like, boom. It's like, what the hell? It's like, look, the best business decision was to put her on the team, all right?
Right.
I don't know if it's the best basketball decision because I don't know anybody. I don't know any of the other players on the team, and I don't watch the WNBA. I watched the WNBA for about 10 minutes last week when Caitlin Clark was playing when she scored the 30 points. So I have no idea whether she should be on the team or not. I know that she and the three other starters got benched for not playing defense in the last game. But I don't know. All I know is it's the wrong business decision.
Yeah.
If it's a business that you want, you put her on the team.
Right.
Because she's going to bring in millions of people to watch.
Yeah.
She is right now, over the last 4 months, there is no bigger athlete in the world.
No, I mean, she's it.
From the publicity that she has received.
Right. Based on the coverage, right.
Right.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to, I probably won't get in the habit of watching the WNBA. I'm not in the habit of watching the NBA. But when
I love the coach, and I know it's Dallas against Boston, but I love the coach's response on Boston to all the questions coming up.
Yeah.
About his race, and all he does is keep bringing up his Christian faith. I'm
right.
like, oh man,
and they just can't.
They just can't.
They don't know where to go.
The one silence the other time.
Yeah.
Well, you've got two coaches of color now. What do you think? He goes, well, are you asking whether we're Christian?
Right.
And I'm like, and there was a complete. We played the audio cut earlier this week. There was complete silence, just complete silence. They didn't even know where to go with it.
They really don't.
Well, you know what happened, and I just can't remember the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was asked it. I forgot who the other coach was, the black coach. Whenever they bring it up, you have a lot of these black coaches that feel insulted because when you bring up these things, you make it sound like, as they say, they go, look, this is merit-based.
Yeah.
And by bringing it up, some of these coaches get the impression that they got there because of affirmative action.
Right.
Of affirmative action of some kind.
Right.
And they don't like it.
Right.
They don't like it at all. It's like, no, this is a meritocracy here, and we worked our asses off to get here.
Right.
So stop with this. As I think the one coach, I forgot who it was last year. I forgot which coach it was, of which team. He said, look, black and white doesn't matter here. Winning does.
Right.
And that's true. In the NFL, winning matters.
Right. It's, but the left can't help themselves.
No, they've
got to make it about identity at every turn.
Yep.
It's everything that they are. And I really believe that more and more that's falling on deaf ears. For a while, it seemed like it was catching fire. I don't think it is anymore. I think things like, I think post-COVID, but not just that. I think inflation, all the real things that people are dealing with, the whole DEI, basically, and it really has been the DEI activists They just talk in total DEI language all the time. It's you're not connecting with people. You're not making any connection with real people every day that are going through whatever it might be. And in fact, most often you're missing the mark. You don't understand what the actual issues are. You don't understand what it takes to be a coach. You don't understand what it's like on that level. You just want it to be something that you want to, I don't know, go out and pat yourself on the back for mentioning. I don't know. But it's not connecting with people. And I'm convinced that more and more, in fact, it's falling on deaf ears. That people are done with this. Because as a society, we don't talk that way. As a society, we don't behave that way. And when it's been, nonstop at every single turn, we've been asking the question, well, who does that? Well, somebody who's obsessed with race.
Mm-hmm. And which is the political ideology that lives on identity politics, which is judging people by groups and not individuals. It's liberalism, and it's the Democratic Party.
Yep.
End of story.
Yep.
And with Caitlin Clark, for example, you look at Jamel Hill, who used to be with ESPN. Mm-hmm. She's just an out and outright racist. Mm-hmm. She just Caitlin Clark, and I saw the college games. She was great. Mm. Pros is different. Pros is different for anybody. Anybody comes in from a rookie, doesn't come in and score 35, 40 points a game. That doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a very, very rare thing. Is there a racist element to it? Yeah. Is there a heterophobic element to it? I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to the NBA, or excuse me, the WNBA to know that at all. That accusation has been put forth. Is there jealousy and envy? Absolutely.
Oh, you can see it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would expect it in a league where you're only making, $75,000, $80,000 a year.
Right.
It's not a league where you're making a ton of money at all.
Right.
It's a thing where she's making millions and you're not.
Right.
So is jealousy and envy a part of it? Yeah, probably.
Yep.
But I don't pay enough attention to the WNBA. I don't pay enough attention to the NBA.
Yeah, right.
I just don't. They lost me years ago. The NBA. So.
Well, and I think that's it. We talked about the whole woke era. Well, now it's not just that. It's just that the mindset carried on from that, and out of that doesn't connect with actual people every day. It doesn't relate to how we actually, on a day-to-day basis, behave with each other. It just doesn't. And they need it to, because they need their next big civil rights moment.
Yep. 866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Just love this one. North Korean defector and author Yeonmi Park told Breitbart News on Sunday that the hatred for the United States taught on college campuses is worse than the North Korean government's.
Wow.
That's why when Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania came out and was, saying Trump is putting down America, we said, stop it. Nobody buys you. You're a Democrat.
Well, you brought up a good point too. After that, by saying that, does Shapiro risk more backlash? Because if you think about Pennsylvania, and where it's gone, kind of back and forth, and I don't know what the latest polls are in Pennsylvania, but many of them are done. Well, you look at Fetterman. Fetterman, he's trying to walk the fence on some things because his constituents on many issues are not in line with the Democrats. So, I don't know. Guess we'll see if it comes back on Shapiro. I don't know. But, this is, I guess you throw everything you can right now. It really reminds me, they're in the stage, the Democrats are in the stage right now of that movie where the guy runs out of bullets and he just throws the gun. Thinking in his mind somehow, some kind of miracle, it's going to work for him. And that's what they keep doing. And I really don't get it. But I think that's the mode that they're in. They're desperate. They're cornered. They see it closing in. I don't know. Maybe Rachel Maddow really does believe Trump is going to put her in a camp. Don't forget, canoeing lessons on Saturday morning. Because I don't know exactly how their mind works.
Yeah, I know.
It's just bizarre.
Bringing on the chaos. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
I'm reading this here. President Biden's student loan handouts, a campaign priority for the Democratic incumbent, receive approval from just 30% of Americans, according to results of a new national poll released on Tuesday. 3 in 10 U.S. adults say they approved how Biden has handled the issue of student loan debt, while 4 in 10 disapprove. A new poll from the University of Chicago Harris School of Public Policy and the Associated Press Center for Public Affairs Research found the others are neutral or say they don't know enough to say. Among those responsible for unpaid student loan debt, either for themselves or their family member, just 36 of respondents approve of Biden's handling of the handouts, while 34% disapprove. Those are those responsible for the unpaid. Well, that would be the public, not the actual person paying it. I'll tell you this, because I did talk to, when I was in Florida a few weeks back, I talked to an Uber driver. He's driving the Uber just to pay off his college loans.
Right.
He did get some relief, but the majority, he still has to work a second job. And then I asked him, I said, would you pay what you paid to get your education if you had to do it over again? He goes, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not needed.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, so, I mean,
Right.
What are they upset about? Are they upset that the entire thing isn't being paid for them? You really don't know. Look, I think they asked the question the wrong way. The way you should ask the question is, and what you should do is you should find the people that aren't getting any relief. Those are the people that matter.
Yeah.
Of course, the people that are getting, if the government gives you something free, 90% of Americans are going to agree with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get something for nothing? Yeah, sure, fine.
Right.
What you need to ask is the people who have to pay, the people who don't have college loans or had college loans that they had to pay for themselves. The people that have to pay it are the people that you want to actually ask the question. And you ask the question this way, which is it morally right for the government to force you to pay the college loans of people who wrote a legal written contract with the government to pay back the loans should you, who had nothing to do with that loan, be forced to pay it back?
Right.
That's how you ask it. How do you think it would? What do you? By the way, people might say, "Well, you're leading them on." How? Am I inaccurate in any case? The people that are lying are when Biden calls it forgiveness. When Clyburn in South Carolina said, "Well, nobody has to pay for anything. Who's going to pay for it? Nobody.
Yeah.
It's like, well, of course somebody's going to pay for it. No, because the what do they say?
The principal's already been paid.
He was saying the principal's already been paid, but it's actually the opposite. If you look at, for example, at a home loan, the interest is paid first.
Right. I don't know if it works that way with student loans.
Yeah, it may not work that way with student loans.
But you're likely you're not paying all principal at the beginning, that's for sure.
Right. You're paying both.
Right. And them saying, well, no. Well, then what you're saying is anybody who owes on a car, anybody who owes on a house, if they paid the principal amount, an equal principal amount along the way, then their loan should be forgiven. Well, no, that's not what we're saying at all.
Well, no, Eric, I think you're wrong on that. And do you want me to tell you why? Because with the Fed printing money, they don't believe money has any worth anyway. So to loan money out, or, basically loan, or you rent money, or you buy money for a certain period of time, and that's what the interest is, the interest shouldn't be there because money should be worthless.
Right. There should be no such thing as interest.
Yes. Have I made my point?
Yeah. There should be no such thing as interest.
Well, and Clyburn's trying to make the case in South Carolina that that once a principal is paid, the interest is meaningless, that nobody is hurt if the interest isn't paid, as if the money comes from nowhere.
Right.
And that money is worthless. It's simply paper that is exchanged, so all you need to do is pay the certain amount of paper back or currency back, and the interest doesn't matter, which, of course, is not how accounting is done.
No, it isn't.
By the way, I think Clyburn should be charged with fraud by Attorney General James.
Yes. And his fine should be equal to what he owes the government for allowing them to transfer that money to other taxpayers.
Right. It's a transfer. It's not, again, it
isn't.
It never was. But they lie to you. They have to lie in order to get people to agree to it, to say, okay, I think that's a pretty good plan. And the lies are just blunt. Clyburn last week when he was on Cavuto.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Nobody he was like, he was really gaslighting because he was very indignant. Like, don't you know?
Right.
Don't you know that once you pay off the principal, nothing else matters?
Right.
Nobody has to pay. What economic school did you go to? Must have been an Ivy League school. Must be the new Ivy League economics.
Exactly. Show me how that loan agreement is structured, because I've never seen one like that. Ever. Yeah. And they're making, again, the American people are the bank. We're the bank. And then one guy, his administration comes in and decides they're going to change the agreement between two other parties, being the borrowers and the bank, the American people.
See, I think you have to do two polls. You poll the people that get the benefit, and then you poll the people that have to pay and don't get any benefit.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think you write it. You have to do it correctly. Should you be paying for a legal loan contract that you had nothing to do with? Now, remember, we're not talking about people that are necessarily in trouble. Everybody gets relief.
Right.
And we know that people didn't pay for years during COVID. And if you put it that way, I guarantee you'll have more than 40%.
Oh, yeah.
And they write here, the poll found younger adults are more likely to prioritize government action on student debt. Well, yeah, because they've got the debt.
Exactly.
Where they say older Americans think differently. Yeah, because they've paid off their college debt.
And they're going to be paying more now.
Yeah. They paid off their college debt, and you're telling them they need to pay your college debt off.
Right.
And then you need to talk to people that went to college versus people who didn't go to college. That's how you do proper polling. That's why you and I will never be pollsters, because our polls would be much too expensive, because our goal would be to be accurate, to give the public actually an honest evaluation of the way that the public thinks.
Yeah, our polling institution, our pollster company would go bankrupt by noon.
And then we'd ask for a bailout.
Exactly. For debt forgiveness. Ironically enough. Yeah, I mean, it's...
But then we'd ask for polling. We'd ask for a polling tax.
That's right.
Not a poll tax.
Right.
A polling tax.
Right.
By the way, a poll tax has nothing to do with the strip joint.
No.
Okay.
They have their own tax. I don't even know what that means. But everyone's going to, as you mentioned, 9 out of 10, maybe more, people are going to put their hand out if the government is saying, hey. And by the way, in the latest moves, there was no application process necessary. You didn't go in and file for something if you had student loan debt, and were looking to get it transferred. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to go to the Department of Education website or anything. And they were very clear about that in these latest moves. You don't have to do a thing. Because they knew that would create a system where it was qualifiers. Well, those who apply by the state, those who apply, nope, across the board, boom. And you can't do that. The Supreme Court told them they can't do that. They're doing it anyway.
Well, you can't win the argument if you tell the American public the truth. You can't win the argument. You can win the argument with people that are getting the benefit, that don't have to pay something that they signed a contract for.
Yeah.
But the morality is, as we've said, the morality from Democrats, and again, you can't argue this point. The morality from Democrats is that it is more moral for people who did not take out a college loan, who did not go to college, to pay for the money that you borrowed in a signed contract and promised to pay back. It's more moral for the people that did not get the benefit, according to Democrats, to pay back your loan.
Right.
Well, you're not going to win that. You can't win that with the American public. And it's a transfer. Again, it's as elitist as you can get, because you're transferring money from people that, a lot of people that never went to college.
Right.
Or people that went to college and worked 2 jobs so they didn't have to go into debt, or people that went to college, got the debt, and then struggled for the next 20 years because they understand it's their obligation and responsibility to pay back their own debt, no matter how they have to do it. Legally.
Yep. Right.
Legally. Legally. I want to make sure I'm not saying, not telling you to rob a bank.
No, don't do that.
And that's how I've always paid my debt. It's always how you've paid your debt.
Mm-hmm.
I have the responsibility.
Yep.
You have the responsibility.
Yep.
It's my debt.
Yep.
You know, we talk about property rights, that people have to respect my property rights. It's a two-way street. I have to respect their property rights. And when somebody lends me money, they're lending me their property. I don't care whether it's an individual or a corporation or a bank. The morality is the same.
Yeah.
You pay back your debt. You respect other people's property.
Right. And you're not forced to borrow it.
No, you're not. You're not forced. Nobody's forcing you to borrow it. It's a choice you made.
Yep.
So there really is no argument if you ask the question correctly. But, of course, the mainstream media will never do that when it comes to student loan.
Well, no, you can't. You can't.
And
you know, because it gets away too quickly from the agenda, it gets to the actual issue.
Where you saw when Cavuto said, well, what about the person who well, where's the money for the person who didn't go to college,
Right.
but borrowed to make their small business go? And Clyburn was like, it benefits the people that went to college. That's not the question I asked. The question I asked is, what about the people that paid off their college loans? What are the people, out of the people that didn't go to college but invested in their own business?
Yep.
Where's their relief?
Right.
Well, it benefits people who go to college. He just kept repeating the same thing. There is no answer. And like every single major issue out there, the Democrats have no answer.
Right. None.
No answer.
None. And because you can't, because they know it's wrong, they know they don't win it.
No, they don't.
There is no answer.
So Clyburn had to lie and say, nobody pays the debt.
Right.
There is no debt to pay. It's just canceled.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, we knew when pressed, we knew when you were cross-examined, the only thing you can do on the issue is lie. And that's this administration right now on every major issue. If they're cross-examined, they have to lie because they can't tell the truth.
Yep. And all their surrogates, that's the only thing they can do is lie.
Tell us where we're wrong. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Cuomo grilled by a House panel over New York's COVID nursing home deaths. It was a closed-door hearing, said Representative Miller Meeks of Iowa. I don't see a lot of remorse. He is deflecting. She's one of the several doctors serving on the House Select Subcommittee on Coronavirus Pandemic as it investigates the former governor's conduct at a closed-door meeting. Cuomo allegedly refused to shake the hand of House Republican Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik of New York at one point, but was otherwise very cordial, sources and lawmakers said. When asked by the Post how he was feeling heading into the session, he's a cool dude, loose mood always. Republican lawmakers exiting the question said Cuomo was still trying to frame the congressional inquiry as political and did not provide any noteworthy new context to the panel, instead keeping to what he wrote in his related book, a gushing story of his administration's response to the horrific crisis. There needs to be accountability here, and so far there is none. He tried to blame Trump. He tried to blame everything. No, he was in charge of what his state did.
No, he made those decisions.
Yep.
And he was boasting about them at the time.
Yeah, he was. Remember, he was the guy 4 years ago that was going to replace Biden because Biden couldn't handle it.
Right. Yeah.
Deja vu. Didn't we go through this already?
Exactly.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just reading here from Breitbart. Jon Stewart skewers corporations for pandering and exploiting gays during Pride Month. Comedian Jon Stewart gave voice to the growing number of Americans on both sides of the political divide who are becoming fed up with corporate pandering during Pride Month. On Monday's episode of Comedy Central's The Daily Show, Jon Stewart went after corporate virtue signaling as just a cynical marketing ploy.
Well, I mean, is that kind of not the whole point?
I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, it's like, Valentine's Day was, as I tell my wife, made up by the greeting card companies,
That's why you don't do anything for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Oh, no, I do. I'm just trying to make my case so eventually I don't have to.
Oh, okay. Same difference. Pride Month is, of course, that time of year
You know me too well.
when corporations get together and financially exploit the decades-long struggle of gay people for acceptance and equality, he said. Then, hey, remember, when you were fired from that bank job after you were outed? Well, Burger King does with a burger that has 2 bottom buns. As Stewart noted, Burger King actually did have a Pride-themed promotion featuring 2 bottom buns or 2 top buns.
They did not. That's false. Is that true?
That's what it says here, as Stewart noted on the show from Breitbart. He continued, scarred by conversion therapy, Skittles is releasing its colorless version of Skittles, apparently not wanting to confuse gay people with competing rainbows.
I thought their entire slogan is Taste the Rainbow.
Stewart then mocked Oreos for its commercial featuring a lesbian couple who wins over a conservative dad, and Target for its Pride apparel line. What the F?
What
he said.
And how do they depict the dad? What is he sitting there watching Fox News?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
this is that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, but I mean, the entire point, though. I guess my question is, where's Jon Stewart been? I mean, I know he hasn't been on the Daily Show for a while, but I mean, all this time, isn't it just about that? I mean, that's where you see it.
I heard the guy was in Idaho, was having, what was it, the heterosexual thing is having, he goes, look, everybody's invited. Everybody's invited, but we're celebrating our Why can't we celebrate heterosexuality?
Right.
Because that's the entire point when you see, I mean, look at some of these parades. I mean, come on, the theme is sexual.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Right.
But a significant portion is to get as erotically sexual in public as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that's your identity, and there are, you can find gay people that are conservative that says, my sexuality is not my identity.
Right. Right.
But that is where a significant portion of the, now, I've always said to begin with, that I've said this since this first started happening. Oh, I remember in the 90s when I first became a talk show host, gay pride, black pride. I said, all that kind of pride is worthless. It's useless. It's stupid. I've been saying that for 30 years. You're proud of the things that you accomplish in life.
Yeah.
Not things that are inherent. I don't celebrate that I don't celebrate because my grandfather came to this country because of the massive discrimination in Ontario of Irish Catholics.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day, celebrate being Irish. Well, I celebrate with everybody else because everybody's Irish and we all have fun. And I haven't, I can't remember the last time I had a drink on St. Patrick's Day, but it's an excuse for everybody to get drunk maybe and have a good time.
Remember the whole green beer thing?
Yeah, they still have it. Yeah.
Do they do that
Oh,
still?
yeah, they still do.
Okay.
Yeah, they still
All
do
right.
green beer. But is there anything, am I proud to be Irish? That's a stupid question. You are what you are.
Well,
I don't,
because the question, the next question would be, what if you're not? Then you would be ashamed of who you are?
You
can't change it.
Well, no, I can just on all these things. I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't care if you're gay. Well, are you going to celebrate? No, because I don't care. I think it's stupid. It's dumb.
Well, you're celebrating.
I'm a heterosexual. What was it? The Odds. It was a band, the Canadian band, The Odds. I don't know if you remember. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm a hetero. It was like in the 90s, and I used to play it during my sexuality pride update when I was working at WROK in Rockford, Illinois.
Right.
Our great affiliate there.
Right.
Still today.
Yeah.
And it was and one of the newspaper columnists got furious. The homophobia. I go, what homophobia? And it was it was an alternative song. I'm a heterosexual, whatever. I just remember I just played the beginning part of it.
Right.
And everybody knew it. You know, everybody knew it. And you know, everybody including gay people that I worked with loved it.
Right.
Because they understood the humor of it.
Right.
But I don't care. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care. Now, you want to, which means don't bother me with it.
You know, it's interesting because I had a dream that, you know, as a society, we could judge each other by the content of their character. Doesn't sound like anything coming from me, does it?
That was a liberal nightmare.
No, for the liberals today, it is a nightmare. You can't judge. How dare you judge by the content of the... No, it must be by identity.
If you sit there and you say, you go out and you defend somebody who is being bullied, I don't care what for. Somebody's being unfairly bullied or assaulted, and I'll compliment you for that.
Yeah, sure.
You know, what you did was good. I don't celebrate anything physical about me.
No,
I mean, it just.
I'd have to have something to celebrate.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I mean. I mean, a physical attribute or a sexual urge or, you know, whatever.
I'd have to Alvin brag a number of things.
Well, I just, you know, look, there are things to celebrate, and people say, well, it means you're not proud to be an American. What I'm proud of is people that I'm proud of the founding fathers who put everything on the line to create this country. They accomplished something. People that actually put their life on the line, their life, their savings, everything. I'm proud of what those people accomplished and what we have here today.
Their behavior.
I'm proud of people's behavior. That's what I'm proud of. And that's why I cherish the Constitution of the United States.
Well, because
I fly the flag all the time. I flew the flag on, and the only one on my street, for D-Day. My flags are up. My electric flag was up because those are people that died for the Constitution of the United States that was put up there by other people who were willing to die, give up everything in order that we have today. Those are the people that I care about. If you fight injustice and you put yourself at the line, I'll be proud of your actions.
Well, that's behavior.
Right. That's behavior.
That builds the content of someone's character. Yeah. And that was the entire idea, is the entire idea. Because you have to ask yourself, what does it mean to be an American?
But there's a ton of stuff I don't care about. Don't tell me I have to care.
Well, and it went from, you have to, these people are not tolerant. They're not tolerant. And then all of a sudden it's, they won't let us do this. And then it's, you won't be in our parade. And why aren't you marching? And I don't have to be a part of that. It's not.
No.
It's not my march.
No.
And I don't need you to be part of mine.
By the way, I wouldn't march in the heterosexual parade.
Nope. Absolutely not.
What? Hot women in bikinis? All right. We may have a second thought on that later, or a second opinion later on.
We can discuss it.
We can discuss
Listen,
that one.
We're not saying it's off the table completely.
Right. I just realized what I was saying. No, of course, of course, I wouldn't be. You know,
it's about behavior. It's about how people again build the content of their character.
Well, let's go to another topic. The Miss Alabama pageant.
Mm-hmm.
You need to celebrate that I'm fat. No, I don't.
No,
I don't. Now, personally, that's your choice to do what you want because I don't care, you know, as somebody pointed out the other day, you know, some people may have thyroid problems or whatever, but it still comes down to the calories that you put in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got type 2 diabetes. I can still control whether I live or die.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to me by my carbohydrate, you know, intake and my exercising and following what I have to do. So, you know, that, you know, whatever you have, I'm not going to celebrate. Well, number one, I think pageants are stupid.
Well,
I think all those pageants are stupid to begin with.
I don't know how they're even still having them.
Yeah, but
I don't know how the left is letting them have them.
But the whole thing from the medical profession, and this may be an offshoot of the radical transgender movement, that I have to say that you're just as perfectly healthy as any other body form is ridiculous. If you're that woman, that Miss Alabama, is morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's going to have major or will have major medical problems because of it. And if people who say that, if you're in the woke crowd, well, then you're bigoted. I'm not bigoted. That's scientific fact.
From the party of science, you need to ignore the science once again.
Right. But if they wish, they can pick whoever they want. I don't care who they pick for Miss Alabama. But don't tell me that I can't. Don't tell me I have to approve and say that.
Well, I don't have to be a champion for that person or anybody else.
No, I don't. No.
And that's the difference, is that it is more and more the left calling people out for not being the champion for somebody else's cause.
Or, this is the movement I love. Remember the for example, the trans women that are upset that men won't date them.
Yeah.
And you're bigoted if you won't.
If you won't.
Like, wait a minute. You've got your choice of what you want, but the other person can't have their choice. Or the fact that you must say that I'm beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
I won Miss Alabama. I'm beautiful. And if you don't say I'm beautiful, you're bigoted. Well, when it comes to beauty,
it's in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly. So we're all bigoted when it comes to beauty because we all have our different opinions on it.
Well,
which is why I've always heard about, and I never heard it, but I was always told that Rush Limbaugh early on, I'll have to ask Tyler Cox if he really did this, because I always heard this. Rush Limbaugh did a thing when he was in Sacramento where he said that you know, the problem in this nation are ugly people, because ugly people, you know, they're ugly and they're unattractive and they tend to hang out with other ugly people and then they procreate ugly people. And that's a huge, and he apparently, from what the legend is, he got massive amounts of complaint. He needs to be fired. And the whole point was, what's ugly?
Well,
define ugly.
And to be clear, he only got complaints from ugly people. So, of course.
And don't worry, look, we're not trying to be arrogant of our incredible beauty here because we're on radio.
Right.
So understand, this is not narcissism of our the great physical specimens of Eric and Gary. We want to make that clear.
Exactly. Stand-up comedian Mike Vecchione has a stand-up special. It's been out for a while, called The Attractives. About during COVID. You know, he's joking as being one of the attractives. We didn't have our superpower during the whole COVID thing, you know, and then ugly people were getting away with, you know, they could cover their face, and we had to cover our attractive face, our superpower the whole time. It's a great bit. Clean comedy, by the way. Mike Vecchione, it's on YouTube. It's free. The Attractives. And it's so funny.
Sounds awfully bigoted.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. There are a few moments in that when I'm thinking, he might get some heat on that. But
yeah, those
no, it's good.
Some of my pet peeves. You must say I'm beautiful.
Right.
No, I don't have to must say.
Well, no,
beautiful.
I mean, it really, they bring it together in this weird kind of way. Hey, if you feel good about yourself, great.
Yeah.
And the rest is between you and your doctor.
Exactly.
Assuming you're going to regular doctor visits. I'm old, so I'm going. I'm not, the thing is the left puts it out there as part of their cause. They've got to create, again, a new civil rights movement at every turn. And it's not working for them. It just isn't.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. Roadside inspections all begin with the driver interview, during which the officer will gather basic information from the driver and prepare the driver for the inspection. The officer will also be evaluating the driver, determining if the driver can speak English, is under the influence of anything, has an illness, or is fatigued. The officer will ask the driver for required documents, including vehicle and driver credentials, the driver's log, and shipment paperwork. The officer may also conduct a vehicle inspection. Before beginning the inspection, the officer will take steps to make sure the inspection can be done safely. These include chalking the wheels, wearing personal protective equipment, and explaining what will be required of the driver. The driver needs to pay close attention to these instructions so that the vehicle inspection can be conducted in a manner that is safe for the inspection official. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. But hey, I love everybody. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. But on some things, I just don't care. I don't care what people do, as long as they don't infringe on my rights. I may think what they do is wrong. I still don't care, and I'm not going to stop what they do in the privacy of their own homes.
No.
I will tolerate. I will associate. I don't have to approve. There's a ton of things I don't approve of. Probably every person I've ever met in my life, except for you, is not perfect.
Mm-hmm. I thank you. I thank you very much.
And I probably have a problem with something that they're involved in. But
and quite honestly, it's your blunt honesty that I really appreciate, and your analytics. If I don't even know what I was going to say. No, the thing is that I don't have to. If you're doing something I disagree with, I can still love the person and disagree with what they're doing.
You know how we know? We love our families, and they love us.
There you go.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, I just happened to do this. I've had this bookmarked for the longest time.
Yeah.
For now over 4 years.
Okay.
I just happened to click it on to look at it, and I was telling you about it in a break here in the last half hour, and it was just. Because I bookmarked, and I said, all right, let me just click it. And it's the COVID data tracker from the Center for Disease Control, the CDC. And so I'm like, remember there were some new, strains or whatever earlier this summer? I said, well, everybody be careful, this, that. And, and the vast majority of people probably got 3 shots maybe? The first 2 and then maybe 1 more. But the majority of America got the first 2 shots, maybe a 3rd shot. And I think you would be on, if you're following it, 5 shots now. I believe that's what you would be at right now, 5 shots.
Okay.
And the majority of Americans haven't done that. So you wonder, because they say, well, there's these different strains, these different strains, these different strains. Well, I just looked at it now. And the thing is, you can't look because so many people aren't getting tested.
Yeah.
You know, I was asking you, and we got on this conversation. That's one of the reasons I looked it up, is because it was 2 nights ago on the air. I got so tired. I can't believe I finished the show. I mean, I've never been that tired on the air.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday it was a lot less, and now I'm back to normal, which is I'm as awake now as I am at 2 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't figure out what it was. And I asked her, I said, you know, did I get COVID? Because everybody has gotten COVID or has been exposed to the virus. We know that now.
Right.
Everyone in the world, well, I'll say in the United States, there may be some parts of the world that are so isolated where they haven't. There might be somebody on a deserted island. But everybody in the United States has everybody in North America has been exposed to COVID. It's been in your system. I have never tested positive for it. I've never felt that I'm sick. And I asked you, I said, you think it could have been COVID? Because I'd never had that before where I was that tired. And it was really bad. At 4:30, two days ago, and I was fine on the air. I mean, once I get on the air, just focus, you know, but you left the studio. I fell asleep for like 10 seconds sitting in this chair. That's never happened to me ever. And then I was a little tired yesterday, and I said, could it have been COVID? And I just wonder, you know, and so I decided, let's look at the CDC numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the severity indicators, hospitalization right now, hospitalization rate per 100,000 population, 1.1.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Right.
Deaths, all percentage of all U.S. deaths in the United States due to COVID-19, May 26th to June 1st, 0.6%. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, the majority of people, like I said, after the second or third shot, have not gotten the COVID shot. They haven't.
Right.
So you still have a huge elderly population. How do we know that? The projection of where Social Security is going in the next 10 years.
Well, yeah.
So you have a huge. So who's telling us the truth? Because you still hear they say you should get the COVID shot because of the new strains, but the new strains seem to be, and there's probably been, 5 new strains in the last year that they've talked about?
Probably. Something like that, yeah.
And it's now it's summertime, but still it's nothing.
Right.
When you see it right now. So has anybody done an analysis on the natural immunity? Because natural immunity, if they're saying that the COVID shots only hold for a certain length of time, well, then why isn't COVID exploding if it can keep coming back again? And you can get it twice and 3 times and 4 times. What's happening? I haven't seen any news items on that at all. I'm going to look for some news items, but I just thought of that here in the last couple of minutes.
Well, I think there's something to be said with herd immunity as it comes around, but also herd immunity as our own body builds our natural resistance over time, and keeps doing that. And I think that's, I've had it twice that I know of, but going through it, I just assumed it's herd immunity until you get some kind of strain or variation that becomes especially dangerous. I think your body is going to keep working. The average body is going to keep working to that. The average healthy body is going to keep working to that end. That's just what I always assumed. Because no one is talking vaccines. No one. I mean, politically, it's not even a good idea to bring up anymore. You can't. You've seen where a lot of the talk has gone away for good reason. Other things rise to the surface. But really, I think the focus going forward is because, the question became, especially as we learn more and more about the lab leak theory and the fact that, okay, yep, it looks like it came from the Wuhan lab. And that idea now being discussed in a legitimate way and the left being a part of it changes the nature of all of it. Now it gets down to, okay, who in any powerful position was responsible for this happening? That could be anyone accountable to any U.S. citizen. This is why it's important to put Fauci up there, have him answer these questions. And where was the taxpayer money on this? And how does this happen? And then I think also the idea that local, state, and federal government controlling people's lives to that extent. Now people looking at it going, never. I will never let that happen again. Which, if there were ever any kind of, outbreak of something extremely dangerous, far more dangerous than COVID, would present a huge problem, of course. But this is the problem we had from the beginning. The whole starting with flatten the curve and all of this. We know as a society, we don't have to have the medical training to have a basic understanding of how viruses work. And when you watch information, when it's legitimate information, and then you also watch around your own household, neighborhood, community, about how a virus is behaving, and you look at it and say, okay, we kind of got this down. Older people, people with underlying conditions, they're at the highest risk. Younger people are not. So we take on those risks, in fact, evaluate those risks every single day, and are willing to go out and take those risks by getting behind the wheel of a car, doing a number of things. And when it comes to a virus, we kind of look at it now, I think, and the COVID thing is just behind us mentally.
When you look back to January of 21, 26,000 deaths a week were happening in the United States. The week of June 1st, 144.
Yeah.
And you saw that came out last week that now they're looking at the what do they call it? The excessive deaths, whatever.
Yeah.
And looking to see whether the vaccine may be a part of it. They're not sure yet.
Right.
We know there are some deaths, but they're looking at it now to see whether, how many excessive deaths there were because of the vaccine. And as we have always stated that young people, we saw this from day one, young people, there was a panic over young people that the evidence never provided. Elderly people with that were obese, people that had, and I had found this out later on because remember I was in the elderly portion even when it hit and had type 2 diabetes, but they said, I found out later on, because remember I was always asking the question, is it the same for type 2 diabetes under control, which means your blood sugar is basically normal within the normal range. You're not above a 7 A1C. Is it the same if you're not, if you have it under control? And could never get that answer.
Right.
When it came to vaccine time, because when you look at it, if you had one of the underlying conditions, especially obesity, and you were over 75 years of age, I mean, your chance of death skyrocketed compared to somebody who was 18 years old and healthy. And we knew that from the beginning, and it didn't seem like that mattered to authorities at all. The other thing is when you look at this, and we with Fauci testifying last week, why Democrats, is there no curiosity about where COVID came from or what we were told, whether it was a truth or not? Because every single Democrat absolutely defended Fauci as if he was completely credible on everything and above board, and we know from the evidence that is not the case.
Well, the liberal media made a hero out of it.
Yeah. Why don't Democrats want to know the truth? The truth doesn't bother me either way.
I can't change the truth, and I wasn't responsible for it.
Right.
So
why would I not want the truth on everything?
Mhm.
You know, but when you look at it, the Democrats in Congress, as if he's a saint, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was attempting to destroy the credibility and therefore the careers of doctors that disagreed with him.
Which was the approach on anybody who issued dissent, but it was important for those doctors because those doctors, when we talk about things that doctors learn and scientists learn, and we bring up the words peer review, well, especially on the fly, it's critical when you're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is any dissent at all, it needs to be discussed. And the data needs to be analyzed.
Well, no, that's a great point. Standard medical practice is you peer review things.
Right.
Well, the Great Barrington Declaration was a part of the peer review.
Right.
Because the government didn't want peer review.
Right. Exactly. Our peer review is going to be, you say what we say it is.
And it's like, well, we can't trust the public.
Right.
Well, then you're screwed.
Well, no, that's it.
Because now you've lost everybody in this generation. The only way you're going to be able to do that again, what they did during COVID, would be 70, 80 years from now, which separated the last pandemic.
Right. Well,
the flu pandemic, when most people are dead that were alive at that point and don't remember what you go through.
Fauci admitted it was about manipulating behavior.
He said it, yeah.
So that's what all of that was about. Well, the truth is the only thing that matters. The truth is the only thing that's going to get you to a remedy.
That's what I always want. And then they claim that if you're for the truth, you were part of the disinformation.
Exactly.
When actually they were.
Right.
They were, think about that. COVID, disinformation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Laptop, disinformation.
Remember the whole truth czar thing?
Oh, God.
They were going to put an end to it once and for all until they found out the truth czar actually wasn't so truthful either. But that's who they are. We can't tell you the truth. We're going to control our own truth. It's the only truth there will be, and any dissent will be punishable.
You may not want a purveyor of conspiracy theories to be your truth czar.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's exactly who we wanted because we were peddling disinformation.
Yes.
So we wanted somebody who was an expert in peddling disinformation because we're actually not for transparency.
If we're going to do this, we want somebody who knows how to make it up.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up following the top of the hour, it seems like Republicans believe, we talk about the Kansas City kicker, talking about marriage and everything else. Now we know why Democrats are upset. Only 19% of Biden supporters believe that society is better off if people prioritize marriage and having children.
Wow.
19%, that's it.
Wow.
60% of Trump supporters agree with that. So now we understand why they were upset. They don't like somebody prioritizing, saying, look, we prioritize, we think having children, that marriage and having children has been a totally beneficial way, and society is better for prioritizing marriage and having children.
Well, that explains the very low birth rate.
Certainly does.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.